How do we deal with this? It's not like we're starving for water right now and we have to build a fire with sticks, because that would be harder than what we're doing right now trying to solve this.
That's what I keep saying. And there are a lot of people who don't want to accept reality. The reality is you are a privileged, wealthy individual in America. All of this stuff is a gift we're lucky to have. We shouldn't let anyone take it from us if it's ours and we worked for it and we built it. But at the same time, if it came down to my principles and all of the luxury, I would accept my principles. Mm-hmm. That's why I said, if YouTube emailed me right now and they were like, Tim, you must show us your proof of vaccination, otherwise we will not allow you to upload, I'd be like, I guess we're not doing YouTube anymore.
Yes, we're done.
That's a hard line. I'm not okay with that. For the time being, we get to live in luxury. We get to speak our minds. We get to challenge these systems, and we'll keep doing it until we can't.
Stop giving YouTube ideas, okay? This is something that they might actually implement, because every company over 100 people, mandated by our supreme geriatric overlord, has dictated to us that over 100 people, if you're running a company, you need to get vaccinated. YouTube, the content creators could be considered employees, because we are uploading and working a part of the system, and who knows how far they will push it. I think they're going to try to push it as far as they can, and the only thing that will continue to allow this push is people's ignorance and compliance. Mm-hmm. So if you think you have to comply, if you don't know that there's other alternatives, if you don't know that there's other possibilities, if you just blindly just say, yes, Overlord, I will do what you tell me, you don't understand that situation will deteriorate and only keep getting worse and worse and worse, since the Overlord will keep asking for more and more from you.
Which is why I say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can't comply your way out of tyranny.
Yeah, this is a classic case of feeding the alligator in the hopes that it eats you last. It's still going to eat you in the end. Mm-hmm. Maybe you should stop it.
What if I eat it?
Yeah, there you
go. What
if
I'm in a cage with an alligator and I trick it, it's busy eating
Man
Luke.
bites dog.
And then while it's eating Luke, I go, ha!
Bites alligator. Yeah,
you can get it to eat itself.
You didn't see that one coming.
Trick it with its own tail.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah.
I think history is plagued with examples of people who are like, if I just duck, death will pass my door.
I think that we're especially at risk of this in our super, super cushy environment. We don't believe that it's ever really going to get that bad, and we're wrong.
Dude,
and we're facilitating it, and we're making it easier for it to happen.
Well, we're also very comfortable, and we're very fat.
Exactly.
Literally fat.
Yeah.
Diabetes and obesity skyrocketed up. You want to look at comorbidities, especially with COVID. That's definitely one to really look at and have another conversation about. But there's a meme that I just posted a few hours ago and said, and it says, we're still complying, so we're going to be fine, right? And it's people in World War II. I'm not going to say it. There's no, this is before any kind of action happened, but it specifically highlights, a point in history where a lot of people did think that if we just do what the government wants us to do, everything will be fine.
Yeah, we trust them,
and
right?
if you have this kind of naive ability, you don't know history.
People are fighting over toilet paper. Right? They fought over toilet paper last year. Shelves were emptied. Today's show says there's going to be more food shortages. We're hearing that there's, economic collapse underway. Biden's agenda is failing, whether it would work or not. We're hearing more reports that when Christmas comes around, the surge in demand with a lack of supply will cause a major crack in the economy. And you will not be able to find certain foods at your stores. And then people say, Tim, I have no choice but to comply. My kids need food. And I'm like, you don't get it, dude. The complying is why your kids don't have food, why they won't have food. Because they shuttered the economy, destroyed your business, and still you complied. That's the crazy thing to me. How many hundreds of thousands of businesses were destroyed? How many people were left starving? They had no food to eat. They were angry. They were demanding. How many people in New York City lost their businesses? And now, after being beaten over the head with what the government did, they come out with a vax mandate, and these small businesses say, okay, if I comply this time, everything will be okay. And still, the Today Show, NBC, and these news outlets say the food shortages are getting worse, but people are just like, if I just keep doing the same thing, the fire will stop burning me.
Yeah, farmers were literally told, burn your crops, kill your farm animals. And they're still getting some orders like that from the top levels of the federal government. And I think the economic warfare here is extremely significant because when we look at the small businesses that were destroyed, that were shuttered by people saying, just follow the laws, just follow the rules, just comply. It's just 2 weeks slow the spread. We need to lock down. When that happens, that took away people's economic freedom. And when people have a little bit of money, they have a little bit of freedom. They have more choices. They have more options. When you take away their money, when you take away their ability to put food on the table, when you take away their ability to make any kind of living for themselves, they're forced into subjugation. They're forced into a UBI system. They're forced into saying, government, please give me a lot of your money. I think that's why another reason the federal government gave so much unemployment benefits. That had another very negative repercussion for our kind of domestic economy. But economies worldwide are being shattered. They're being utterly destroyed. Billionaires are becoming richer than ever, and these are because of the top-down centralized economic policies that have been literally locking people down in their own prisons, in their own homes, telling them you can't leave, you can't go anywhere. And this is going to, again, exacerbate this problem, and we still have not felt the larger ramifications of the economic consequences because of that. The labor shortages, the supply shortages, this is just the beginning.
And complying is driving it.
That's right.
There's the story of a man. He walks up at a circus and he sees an elephant, a full-grown elephant with a single little rope tied around its foot and then to a single little peg hammered in the ground. And the elephant won't escape. And he says, I don't understand why the elephant doesn't escape and just rip out the peg and leave. And the man says, well, when they were little, we tied them to the peg and they weren't strong enough to break free. They've spent their whole life tied to it, and they don't realize they've become strong enough to break free from this.
It's like why we wear clothing.
Is that why?
Just kidding, keeps you warm.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say,
But that's why we wear clothing in the
warm, I love
desert.
it, yeah.
I actually don't want to get bit by mosquitoes.
You should go to Burning Man. You don't need to wear clothing there.
You don't need to wear clothing. You don't need to wear clothing at Pride events.
We're trained animals, man. We've trained ourselves as a species. That's very interesting. I like to break that stuff down and think about all the little things that we've been trained to do that maybe aren't really all that good for us.
Yes. But elephants are intelligent. And the point of the story is not to say that we're as dumb as animals. It's to point out that we have the power. We just haven't realized it. I mean, the founding fathers did. They were like, hell nah.
Yeah, that's a really critical point about actually like the compliance is the reason your kid's hungry. Because like I remember in 2020 in California, I couldn't get a haircut. Like I just went from place to place, called place to place. They were all closed. And I finally like called the dozenth place or the 20th place. And this guy was just like, yeah, I'm open. I was like, really? You're open? I go in. Just like, really? You never closed down? He's like, no. You know why? I'll tell you something funny. I have a lease. And as long as I pay the money that lease says, I can be here. He just said no. And he stayed open. Didn't close one day.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about the other people that just did close because they were just like, oh, well, I guess I have to.
When people say, I can't risk my kids, you are literally risking your kids. It's the craziest thing to me that people have complied from day one and it's only gotten worse. Yeah. There's a meme going around saying, how many people who told you that after we get the vaccine, things will go back to normal feel really stupid right now? Nothing's back to normal. It's only getting worse.
Another thing that was very interesting about the lockdowns is that it also kind of brought back to life the black economy. Because I remember even hiring barbers to come to my house and give me haircuts at my house. And there was a whole underground economic system that started. There were speakeasies, there was underground parties, there was secret rooms where people gathered. And that's why I think there's going to be more financial ramifications. There's going to be more de-dollarizations. There's going to be more incentives to get rid of cash. And I think this is all coming full circle with the 2030 agenda, Build Back Better. They're openly calling for it. Biden is openly announcing his legislation is a part of it. Boris Johnson is literally cracking open beers and spreading butter, saying build back butter and build back beer in the most ridiculous, stupid dad jokes that are promoting a globalist agenda that are truly about, again, making sure that you own nothing, you have no privacy, and you allegedly will be happier more than ever.
And to clarify, the agenda is Klaus Schwab's, basically his economic forum. He wants to invite corporations to take over as global governance in accordance with governments like national governments. He doesn't think that they can handle them on their own, so he wants corporations to step in and start to govern us. These authoritarian machines that we've given personhood to that can fire you at will to be the governor, is not at all synergizing with the United States of America and the founding of the country and the concept of the Constitution.
They don't view this country.
He doesn't understand this country.
No. They've already look. This country is under an occupation. Okay, you can argue there's two factions out of the many different ways to describe the factions, but one is true Americans and the other is woke internationalism. These are people who say the country wasn't founded in 1776. Okay, well, we know from American history it was. Signing of the Declaration of Independence set forth this great new nation. They say, 1619. We made stuff up and now it's true. Those people don't believe in the history of this country. They don't believe in the ideals of this country. They don't like the founding fathers. They tear down statues of Frederick Douglass, a man born into slavery and then becoming one of the greatest American heroes. We built statues for this guy. They take down statues of Abraham Lincoln. They do not like this country. They don't support this country. But there are people working in the FBI, in the DOJ, in local police departments who just don't care. The country was gutted. Complete demoralization. We've lost touch with our values and what makes this country strong. And now we have police officers in Seattle willing to enforce the law against those who would oppose Antifa.
It's like
we have a DOJ going after parents for saying, don't teach my kids this garbage.
The Federal Reserve's like one of those funguses that get in the ant's brain and makes it like climb up and get eaten. And it got into the United States in 1913 with the Federal Reserve, and it made us like, malfunction. And now we're like wasting away and starving, twitching on the ground. And it's still in our brain. So we need to extract it and heal this body.
I don't think it's possible.
You got to heal it slow. Otherwise, you'll shock and kill the system.
That's why I said I think what's going to happen is that the country breaks apart. But look, in the end, that's still beneficial for woke internationalism. I don't think globalism is necessarily the right word because I don't think these people actually care about that. They're largely focused on the West, the Europe and in the U.S. They don't care about China, for the most part. And I think it's a cult. It is a cult of people who despise Western Enlightenment, who despise critical thought and American history and European history. And that's it. And the end result will be it all breaks apart. In the end, we will live better lives. Your kids will have food. You'll have to do more work. You'll have to actually go out and probably plant some food and learn how to farm again. It won't be that rudimentary. You'll still have, farms who take care of you for the most part. But cities, boy, you're in trouble. How much of your food is imported from California or from other countries? A lot. California, for sure. If California breaks off, man, wow. I'll tell you this. All the food is grown by Republicans for the most part. So those big cities are in trouble. But then they're not going to start just sharing all the food with everybody. Nebraska, man, they're going to have a monopoly on corn. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Well, even during the Great Depression, during those times, there was still a far significant higher number of farmers and self-sufficient people. And there was still a lot of people who were hurt by the Great Depression, but predominantly hurt in major urban areas, major big cities. Now there's been a huge distribution of farmers to city slickers, and there's been a big migration to people to live in cities. So I do feel if there is some larger economic ramifications, that the reverberations will be far more significant and they will hurt far more people, especially with this larger demographic change that we have seen throughout the last few decades.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.